are them? Like they don't care about nobody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth, I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. They cry from the get-go. And the way on them, like they don't care about nobody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth, I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. They cry from the get-go.
Let us stand together.
Yeah. cry from the ghetto. And the way on them feel like they don't care about the money. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better vibes, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better vibes, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society.
Pleasant good afternoon to each and everyone. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. Of course, this afternoon, today being Sunday, it's as good as any other Sunday. So much at hand, but let me first welcome you locally, regionally, and internationally. Welcome to the program of truth. Remember to subscribe to get your copy of the Douglas Report. You can just WhatsApp that number that Archie will have for you there from time to time. Remember Douglas Politics, remember Douglas Radio, the Monday Night Forum, and of course, remember Fire Friday with Marsha Walker. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin today's proceedings, I want to draw your attention first to a document here from Heritage Petroleum. This document was sent to me, ladies and gentlemen, by an employee. The document states Heritage Petroleum Company Limited, registered office 9 Queens Park, West Port of Spain, Trinidad. The telephone number, of course, the 4th of February 2022. The document came out to lease, farm out, and incremental enhanced production service contract operators. And the title of this document is Vaccine Policy Operators. So let me just run through this quickly for you to get a gist as to what Heritage is now demanding from its workers, from its contractors, its subcontractors, its farm out, and so on. The document states, as you are aware, on Saturday, the 18th of December 2021, the government announced its intention to provide additional guidelines for the public service, including state enterprises, to address the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Heritage Petroleum Company Limited expects these guidelines will be aligned to the government's policies that inform that the public sector will operate as a quasi-safe zone. Now, this quasi-safe zone nonsense that the government speaks about is simply where Keith Rowley and his administration stated that those who are not vaccinated and those who will want to continue to work in the public sector, they will have to be vaccinated, at least one dose, or they will have to remain home, and after a period of time, their job will become redundant, and therefore it will be the end of their service, which is nothing but a pack of hogwash. But let's read on from this document. Paragraph 2 states, in consideration of our risk assessment and the sharp increase in COVID-19 infections of both our employees and contractors, and the need to therefore take steps to protect the health and safety of our employees, on-site contractors and visitors, the company's operation will be conducted only by personnel who have provided proof of being fully vaccinated. Listen to that. Proof of being fully vaccinated, having received any of the World Health Organization, WHO approval COVID-19 vaccines, vaccination. Vaccination exemption will be considered for approval, exemption, and in accordance with the government's guidelines. Please be advised, therefore, that effective the 15th of March 2022, the following heritage policy will apply. 1. For the conduct of work on heritage site contracted by operators, operators is required to provide only operator personnel who are fully vaccinated. That's one. Two, a due authorization representative of operator is required to sign and complete the attached Form A on or before the 15th of February 2022. Well, we know, of course, that they have since passed, and there are those who have not signed this document, and there are those who will not sign this document, and there are those who will continue to report for duty. But let's go on. 3, any operator personnel that requires entry to any of heritage sites contracted by operator at any time for the conduct of work must have A, proof of any of WHO approval COVID-19 virus vaccination, namely the original scan or printed copy of the stamped immunization card of the Ministry of Health, MOH, of Trinidad and Tobago, or any other vaccination card approved by WHO. B, proof of a valid written exemption from COVID-19 virus vaccination granted by the MOH of Trinidad and Tobago. Number 4, proof of vaccination or exemption must be accompanied by a requisite governmental issue identification card. 5, any operator personnel who fail to present proof of vaccination or exemption on request will not be allowed to be on site or to enter into Petroleum field. Now, this part is very interesting because I know for a fact that you have recognized that Petroleum, sorry, why I keep saying Petroleum, that Heritage have put up barriers at strategic points throughout the field road, like going from Santa Flora to Point 14, from Point to Santa Flora, Forest Reserve, and other areas. What the document is saying is that if you are not vaccinated, I am saying to you that a problem will be coming. But let's go on further. 6. Heritage reserve the right to spot check vaccination status of any operator personnel, to revoke permission where discrepancies have been found with respect to proof of vaccination or exemption. 7. While at heritage site, operator personnel should always carry on their person the original or scan or printed copy of proof of vaccination or exemption to present as request. So what they are saying is that the security or even supervisors from Heritage may be calling upon you at any given point in time to produce your vaccination card to them, and if you doesn't have that card with you, then you will be removed from the site. But let's go on to 8. Operator personnel who receive an exemption and remain unvaccinated should be subject to a regime of periodic testing and daily attestation. So you will have to be tested daily to see if you contracted, if you have symptoms, if you have whatever in relation to this virus. Number 9, in keeping with the general HSSE requirement of operators contract with Heritage, this policy is incorporated by reference into operators' contract with Heritage. 10. Heritage reserve the right to utilize all and any remedies available pursuant to contract and applicable laws, including termination of contract for failure of operator or operator personnel to comply with this vaccine policy. So you see where we're going? You see where we're going, but we'll come to that just now. 11. In this policy, the following terms shall have the meaning assigned to them as outlined below. A, operator means any company or organization or person that has an arrangement to supply goods and or services to heritage. B, operator personnel means any employee, subcontractor, worker, or agent hired, employed, or otherwise directed by operator. C, fully vaccinated means having received the full series of a COVID-19 vaccine or combination of COVID-19 vaccine, including any recommended booster vaccination approved by the World Health Organization. Example, two doses of a two-dose vaccine series or one dose of a single-dose vaccine series, and 2 weeks has passed since having received the final dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. All operators personnel assigned to work on heritage site must comply with all heritage policies and procedure, health and safety guidelines as they relates to COVID-19, including wearing of masks, distancing from others, contact tracing and reporting cases and primary contacts, and isolating or quarantining if exposed to or contracting COVID-19. Heritage requests that you continue to encourage your personnel to get vaccinated, as this is the best way to prevent serious illness from this deadly virus. The MOH has established many vaccination sites at convenient locations across the country. Please check MOH website for details of the location and the operation time. Thank you for your cooperation with this matters. Yours faithfully, Heritage Petroleum Company Limited, Chief Executive Officer, Miss Aline Chow. You know that name, Aline Chow? Aline Chow was the Chief Executive Officer in a national gas, the National Gas Company. She worked at BP and Moco. She worked at BPTT Trinidad. She worked abroad. She's quite qualified. I was looking at her resume yesterday, and she's quite a competent, qualified person. She was appointed here somewhere down in, I believe, 2017 or somewhere around this. She was appointed to this position, and of course, she was appointed temporarily while the company seek to hire someone permanent in that position. But you know, of course, with this government, there is many temporary permanent position. Many temporary permanent position with this government. When they want to get away from doing the right thing, they appoint you temporarily while they say to you that they seek and they put out advertisement to find a suitable candidate, and the normal thing that go with that. And then this is the form to the back here. This is the form to the back here, right? Now this form, ladies and gentlemen, basically it states your name, the person completing the form, the email, phone address. It states there's a declaration on the form where I certify and attest to the following. I am authorized to sign this certificate on behalf of whoever. It have your name, print, signature, and the date. So this form, this must be completed and ready for action. And as the document states, this would be heritage policy, and this will be implemented by the 15th of March 2022. But before we get into this thing and before we warm the thing up, I want to draw your attention to our document here. This document, ladies and gentlemen, is an address delivered by Her Honored Ms. Deborah Thomas Felix, President, Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago, at the special sitting of the Industrial Court for the 2021-2022 law term, 16th of September 2021, time 10 a.m., First Court, Industrial Court Building, 7 St. Vincent Street, Port of Spain. I want to draw your attention to about page 5, 6, and 7 of this document. Within page 5, 6, and 7 in this document, I want to start from the second paragraph on page 5. Hear what this document states. And I'm quoting from the Honorable Deborah Thomas Felix at this time. I'm coming back to Commoner just now. It states, in Trinidad and Tobago, there have been many videos and pieces of correspondence circulating in the news and on social media, which give the public a glimpse of the attempts by some companies to treat with the issue of vaccination and to put policies in place to address health and safety issues in the workplace. It is not for me, she said, to comment and to express an opinion on the debate of whether or not vaccination policy should be mandatory or voluntary in the workplace. Deborah Thomas Felix goes on to say, except to say what the laws provide if such policies are to be implemented. For the sake of clarity, I have never expressed the view that vaccination cannot be a protective measure at work. In fact, she said, the International Labour Organization, which is the ILO, Committee of Experts on the Application of Conventions and Recommendations, of which I, Deborah Thomas Felix, am a member for the past 6 years. Deborah Thomas Felix went on to say that examining countries' report on certain international standards that, among other things, cover the issue of immunization in relation to the safety and health of workers in specific occupation and sector. It is also important to note that discussions of vaccination policies in the world of work are already subject to the discrimination laws of each country. While generally speaking, a vaccination policy may be included as a condition for new employment, there are much heated public debates on whether mandatory vaccination policies can be added in the workplace to existing terms and conditions of employment. She goes on to say, the main issue, as I see it, meaning the main issue as she sees it, is whether a mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy can be introduced as a new terms of employment to existing employees without discussion or consultation. In other words, can such a policy be introduced unilaterally by employers in the workplace? The short answer to that question is no. The short question to that answer, the learned judge said, is no. But let me go on a little further. The law of the country do not directly address the issue of a COVID-19 vaccination as a condition for employment. In fact, there is no known existing law worldwide which I can find which addresses this issue before the pandemic, she states. While there is no expressed provisions in the Industrial Relations Act, the IRA, of Trinidad and Tobago for COVID-19 vaccination policies to be introduced in the workplace as a new term and condition of employment, our legal framework provides for the introduction of new policies, new terms and new conditions of employment and new working arrangements throughout the collective bargaining process. Such policies and arrangements, in my view, include vaccination policy. Let's go on. It is stated right. It is stated, Deborah Thomas Felix makes it quite clear, ladies and gentlemen. Laws that an employer ought not to unilaterally make any material change or alteration to a worker's contract of employment. The introduction of a COVID-19 vaccine policy or any new policy can amount to a material change in the terms and condition of employment and ought not to be imposed unilaterally. Moreover, if the particular business's enterprise is considering the introduction of a mandatory vaccination policy as a term of employment, there should be collective bargaining between the employer and the workers' representative, which of course is the union. Final paragraph. In fact, the Industrial Relations Act makes collective bargaining between employers and trade unions mandatory. Okay? She goes on to say, the term collective bargaining extends not only to wage negotiations, but it encompasses the resolution of all issues of common interest in the workplace. Moreover, our legal framework and the practice of good industrial relations provide for the parties to have consultation and dialogue and to treat in good faith on workplace issues. In the practice of industrial relations, social dialogue is particularly important and useful when one of the partners propose a material change, alternative, or removal to an existing term and contract of employment at work. And she concludes by saying that is the law. Ladies and gentlemen, let me kick the ball because the referee blew to start the match. Ladies and gentlemen, if Deborah Thomas Felix, who is the ramrod of the industrial court, put out quite clearly that every employer in this country ought to know that you cannot unilaterally add to, take away from any existing contract between you and an employee. If Deborah Thomas Felix, ladies and gentlemen, makes it quite clear that there is no law that an employer could use to make vaccination mandatory, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you people? What more? They have brain to understand. Over this week, about 15 persons, Mr. Roberts, we didn't want to take the jab, but we had no choice. Boy, look, let's go somewhere else and tell somebody that. You know what I'm telling you? Go somewhere else and tell somebody that. Because the same way you're telling me, all I have no choice. It has so much things could happen. And I bet you if somebody come and tell you something that you don't really want to do, you ain't going to do it. You ain't going to make preparation for it. You ain't even going close by it. So go somewhere else and tell them about all they didn't have no choice. Here was my position before I go on with that. Vaccination is your choice. Vaccination is your choice. I will get that clear. But secondly, you can't tell me that Keith Rowley now replace the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what you're telling me, you know. When you tell me, boy, you have no choice. And if you didn't do it, this would have happened and that would have happened. It seems as though to you that Keith Rowley now becomes the Constitution of this country. Because if the Constitution provides you with a choice, who is Keith Rowley? Who is Michael Kwamana? Who is them? Who is them? Who is Marlene Chow? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something today. I want to tell you something today. Listen me good. Every citizen of this country have a choice. You have a choice to eat, you have a choice to sleep, you have a choice to bathe, you have a choice to walk, you have a choice to talk, you have a choice to vote, you have a choice to remove Rowley, you have a choice to keep Rowley. All that is your choice. All that is your choice. The Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, you see how nice I'm talking because I want all of you to understand. The Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago provides you with a choice. You have some freedoms in Section 4 of the Constitution. You have freedom of expression. You have freedom of choice. What again all you want me to tell all you, boy? What all you can understand? An employer is not greater than the law. If an employer wants to terminate you for something that is not part of your collective bargaining agreement, then let the employer do so and you wait to collect your funds. Wait to collect your funds. Don't let no employer bully all you and frighten all you. So because all you have a prime minister as a bully, all you believe that every employer wouldn't use the same strategy? Because if he is a bully, what you expect those who follow him to do? Not bully all you? Not bully all you? Kwamina Heritage, lease operators, Rocky Point, whoever they are, they cannot bully you guys. You have a right. That is not in your collective agreement. That is not what you signed to when you took up employment with any one of these companies. They have the option that they could do what they want through negotiation going forward. But they cannot unilaterally. What does that mean? It means that no employer cannot take it upon himself on his own and create a clause in any contract and you have to obey. That is what it means. You see, I keep saying, and I will be a strong advocate for the Constitution to be taught in our schools. Because what I am seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is that people in this country do not understand. They don't know what are their constitutional rights. They do not know. But why you don't know? Who fault you? Why you don't know? So I want to help you with that going forward. You see, when the UNC take office, which is very soon, I am going to be an advocate for the Constitution to be taught in school. You see, we mustn't allow any government to get away with constitutional murder like this PNM government. This PNM government murder, rape, bugger, destroy this constitution from the highest office, from the president, right back down to the man on the street. They abuse it, they murder it. And you people have to stand up. Don't let heritage force nothing down on the throat. All they don't know what to do, come and check me. All who don't know what to do with this document, come and check me. Come and check me. And we will do it together. You see, I want to tell you something in this country. I want to tell you something, I recognize, years now, that what we have in Trinidad and Tobago is plenty talkers. We are talkers like win. We are people who is defenders. They could defend, they could commentate and defend on every football field, but to put them out there, they can't kick the ball. They can't kick a ball. But as commentators, they know what you should do and where you should go and where you should pass the ball. They know everything, but no action. And that is what we're already killing all with. All you full of talk in this country. Talk! Sometimes when I listen to some callers on Douglas Radio, when they don't talk, so you swear, in the morning is action. When the morning come, it's only hot air. Talk. Talk. Everybody, Rowley had to go. Rowley had to run. No. Election had to come. No. Talk. Full of talk. You know, look, you can't touch me with? I go and tell you. Or look, you can't touch me because I say what I mean and I mean what I say. That is what you have to practice. If all you can't mean what you say, shut up. If all you can't say what you mean, shut all your mouth. All you ain't ready to defend this country yet? If all you can't defend all your job, if all you can't stand up for what is right in the workplace, all you ain't ready for country yet? All you ain't ready for country yet? Defend that. Defend that. I see only appoint a set of men. Some of them as union leaders. Union leaders. And what they do? What they do? How they defend it all here? What is the defensive strategy? Talk. Hot air. Talk. That's all. Full of talk. Time for talking in this country done, people. Time for action. Time for talking done. It's time for action. Palo Seco in San Fra, Point 14, Labre, Faizaba, Pinal, San Fernando, Point Ape, Claxton Bay, all these surroundings. All those who work in heritage, you have a right. Go and take the thing if you want. And you also have a right not to take it if you want. You hear what I'm saying to all you? You have a right to take the thing if you want. Don't let nobody stop you. Don't let nobody stop you from taking it. If you want it, don't let nobody stop you. But if you don't want it, don't let nobody force you. What do you feel it is? All you feel Trinidad and Tobago is a game. All you feel Rowley could do what you want in this country. Rowley doing what he want in this country because all you allowing it. This Prime Minister punishing all you because all you allowing it. All you want to stand up. But I ain't surprised, you know. I ain't surprised. You know why I ain't surprised? Or they ain't even stand up to mind all your family. Or they ain't even stand up to provide for all your family. Some always sending all their wives and all their woman to go and hustle to bring food on the table. Yes. Sending them to go and hustle to bring food on the table. And all they lie down and cook up on a bed. All they lie down and cook up on a bed. You see better some all they put on a dress. Put on a dress. I remember the days of my father and them boy. What? In the days of my father, no water in the pipe for 3 days. You know what happening? I go tell all you what happening. In the days of my father, and this is Grant and Mendoza and all of them, you know what used to happen in Jacob settlement? When it had no water for 3 days, no bicycle can pass. No bicycle can pass. You had to lift up your bicycle had to ride you. You can't ride it. That was back in them days. No others hardly see bicycle. So if it had no water, in all the taps, what you expect should happen? Them days was bicycle. What you expect should happen? In them days, bicycle couldn't pass. So if it had no water in the pipe, what should happen? It had 1 or 2 bicycles now. So I'm help all you. Then a motorbike can't pass. And if a motorbike can't pass, what could pass? See the difference? With them old boys long time. Let me tell you something. Half of them was PNM, you know. But you know what they used to do? Them old boys used to stand up when it had no water and fight the same thing they vote for. I see it today, ladies and gentlemen. I see it today. I want to go there yet. Let me jump there yet. Let me go there yet. Let me finish off with Kwame and them. So, heritage workers, I am saying to you that you are protected under the Industrial Relations Act. You have some protection. Pet Heritage cannot unilaterally make a decision and implement it upon you. It cannot work. There must be agreements between you and them in order to go forward with any deadline that they're telling you by the 24th it was, that you have to be vaccinated. That is hogwash. Let Commoner take that paper and wipe whatever you have to wipe. You better wipe your bottom with that paper. You hear what I'm saying to all you? Do not allow them to frighten and inject all you. Commoner had a responsibility. He had a responsibility. The same paper they sent in for all you. Why did they send a paper and appeal the arbitration when Deborah Peake tell them to appeal it? Why didn't do that? Why didn't send documentation to the arbitration panel to appeal the decision with Avery Drill and Rowley Friend? Why didn't do that? They ain't do that, but they send a paper for you. They send a paper for you. Why didn't send paper there? That's where they're supposed to send paper. They ain't send it there, but they send it by you and telling you have to, boy, or they take that paper, wrap it up, and put it in Heritage post box. Put it in the post box. They cannot do all your nothing. They cannot do all your nothing. All them working lease operators, my partner and them, who they telling all you have to go and do it. When they tell all of that, stoops, as loud as you could. They cannot do all your nothing. You hear what I'm saying to you all? Because there will be redress. Every action will have a reaction. Don't study them on this dotish paper with this and out here and telling you about you have to this and have to that. Boy, you'll get serious in this country and stand up for your rights. Stand up for your rights. You have a choice. I have a choice. Everybody have a choice. We have a choice too, and we have a choice not to. That is we constitutional rights. And not even Rowley, Faris, Imbut, none of them can infringe. Why do you think they only putting off? Why do you think from the 17th of January they go on to the 17th of February and they only going? That is just a bully all year. That is just a frighten all year. Because they cannot, I telling you that, they cannot make nothing mandatory in this country. Nothing. Foolers. All right? So that is enough. Let me get on to some business now. I see in this country, ladies and gentlemen, I see in this country that everything deteriorating, everything going down the drain, everything falling apart, every bit of infrastructure falling apart, going down the drain. I seen people's lives falling apart, going down the drain. I seen man and woman falling apart, going down the drain. I am seeing, ladies and gentlemen, death and destruction awaits us very soon in this country under this Skid Rowley administration. I am seeing, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what happened to all your eyes. I don't know if some of you have eyes like a crab. I don't know if some of you have eyes like a pigeon. But I think all you need to get eyes as an eagle. All you need that eagle eyes to see what is happening in this country. And if you cannot find that eye of an eagle to see what is happening in this country, then it's a clear case of the blind leading the blind, and to the end of the day, all you're going to fall in the ditch. Because when you have a blind prime minister, when you have a blind cabinet, when you have blind government members who sitting in the parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, the place where ought to demonstrate fairness, justice, equity, the place where things supposed to be independent, the place where people supposed to be looking at your interests, the place where decisions ought to be made in order to make and to improve the standard of your living, the place, ladies and gentlemen, that we consider the highest court of the land of Trinidad and Tobago. And when you look into that parliament and you see what is happening in this country, I am saying, if you does not have eyes as an eagle to see the destruction that is taking place within the parliaments of this country, the place that shall protect you, the place where it ought to enhance your ability in life to prosper, if you are not seeing what is happening, then something is definitely wrong with you. This parliament, ladies and gentlemen, it is a place where the most amount of injustice and wickedness taking place. This parliament, ladies and gentlemen, it is cronyism to the highest. It is draconian measures for us, but paradise for them. They continue to benefit from the wealth of this country by millions upon millions, while you cannot even buy pigtail or saltfish. They continue to increase their money. They continue to live tax-free. They have all the tax breaks in the world. They bring in the best vehicles. They take your taxpayer dollar to repair those hybrid vehicles. They drive in areas that you cannot pass. And yet, you still does not have eyes to see what is happening to you. What would it take again, Trinidad and Tobago? What would it take again for this government to do for you to see what is happening to you? This government is not the PNM government that you knew under Eric Williams. This PNM government, ladies and gentlemen, it is a government that only uses the acronyms, but they are not of the same. We know for a fact that there, in times past, that there were numerous amount of pilfering from the public purse. We know that they steal. To my boys on the streets, they thief. But yet, somewhere along the line, that PNM back then was still pelting a coin at you every now and then. Today we have a PNM that no longer steal. This PNM no longer steal. They rob. They rape. They kidnap the wealth of this country. They not only, ladies and gentlemen, thieving your money, but they are also dispersing of your assets, which is your security for the future generation. The assets of this country, it is what can be used to secure the future of your children. And they are no longer just stealing your money, but they are now dispersing of your assets. When a country loses its assets, then that country would not be able to generate revenue. And when you cannot generate revenue, ladies and gentlemen, nobody wants to lend you. Ladies and gentlemen, they are now embarking on a privatization drive. And out of that privatization, they would be selling what they want by using the old Petroleum playbook to go at Wassa, TNTech, the port, the airport, and other assets that is significant in our country. And when they remove the assets out of your hand, ladies and gentlemen, you have no weight in this country as long as you allow them to succeed. I have asked you, I have pleaded with you, I have said to you on many occasions that we are a people that we need to stand for what is right. And when I say, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to stand for what is right, it matters not who is in authority. Because this would be my call. Every time all the time. It matters not who are in government. We, the people of this country, needs to hold those in authority to account for our assets and our public purse. You see, ladies and gentlemen, you have allowed yourselves to become docile in society. A docile man, ladies and gentlemen, will blow with any breeze. Any sorts of fair words and fancy speeches will convince him that that is the place to go. But a wise man, ladies and gentlemen, will use the eyes of the eagle, and he will look deep, and so deep, more than what you think that you can say to convince him. He not only look at words, but he also look at your intention. He also sees and hears what you are not saying. We in this country, we have allowed a group of individuals to persuade us simply because they preach a message to you that identifies with you. And while the message identifies with you, ladies and gentlemen, the wealth of the country gone away from you. So they will speak a language that you can identify with. And therefore, they speak the language of the color of your skin and the texture of your hair. And we identify with that. Don't vex when someone texts on social media or on any one of our lives that we are doing and state that we sell out, and state according to them that we are lick bottom, or whatever they want to say. Don't vex. They are just expressing what they were taught to identify with. And that is why when we speak against the injustice that the African government placed upon us, they will have a problem, because they will learn to identify with a color, even though if that color suppress or oppress you. They learn to identify with that. And that identification comes from the bowels of Eric Williams. You see, what we have not yet learned is that coming out of slavery, there are those black brothers who see the opportunity to capitalize on the ambition of the European, and so they implement a different type of slavery upon us. They no longer place the chains on our hands and our feet, but they place the chains in our minds. They place the chains in our minds. And the worst chain that you could ever experience is the chain that is placed and locked and sealed within your minds. That is why some of our brothers and some of our sisters will rather live in the condition that this PNM have them living in, because to them it is the best they can achieve. To them, it is a place that they could call their own. To them, it's a place that they are proud with. And when you are proud with a deception, it is so dangerous that that deception, ladies and gentlemen, will keep you, and you will die in that deception, because you cannot see with the eyes of the eagle. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen and continue to experience a type of governance in our country, a type of governance where those in authority, where they entreat us, where they punish us, where they beat us, and yet we are rejoicing. You see, when you reach that stage, that is a stage where no one could work with you. That is a stage, if you are to go back into the scriptures, you will see that after God have won a generation and they continue to folly in their ways, he destroyed them and wiped them out all. You know why? Because their hearts are so comfortable, that their minds are so embedded, and they themselves do not want to move out of that position that they are in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have tried in many ways to help change our people. We have worked from a community standpoint, educating, helping our young people to educate themselves so that they would not have to make the same mistakes that our parents and some of us make in our lives. We have worked in areas in South. Every C exam, we sponsor the stationaries out of our pockets. You know why? While some will say it is fame, I agree. It is fame, but not for us. It is fame so those who come out of the common entrance class back then and they see now that they would be able to rejoice later on in life. We went to Beetham. We saw a lady who took some children in, suffering to provide. And we have given a commitment through faith. We have given a commitment through faith that every month we will drop some food so that these children could have something to eat. Not because we intend to fill their stomach, but because we intend for those children to have a different guidance so that they can make Beetham Gardens proud. Bunch of idiots speaks of we looking for fame in Beetham. Some clown with a white glasses on some talk show host. Some idiot with a white glasses talking about we looking for vote in Beetham. Boy, the only reason why I will not deal with you is because I never like to disrespect women. The only reason I would not deal with you is because Victor Roberts do not disrespect women. We will do what we have to do. It matters not. We have no votes to get in Beetham. We don't live in Beetham. We live in Labre. But we do what we have to do. Any part of Trinidad and Tobago, we will help. It matters not who is PNM or who is UNC. That is not our prerogative. Our prerogative is to help each, any, and every citizen to exhale so that they could change the dynamics of this country. Education is the key. That is why I said that Keith Rowley is not a nice man. Because if Keith Rowley was a nice man, he could have cut down and trampled everything that Kamala did. But if he was a nice, caring father, then Keith Rowley would have never, ever removed the laptops, the textbook, and the school feeding. He would have never cut that school feeding program, never remove the textbook, never take away the laptop, because that is the future of the children. Can't use our next word. I know they're waiting. They're timing me for pre-action protocol letter. So I can't use our next word to describe him. All I will say, he is not a nice man. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen today 2 people lost their lives in a fire. Our chief, I could find that clip there. Run it for me. I see my time running.
Yes, the man who were here and see you and she say you and she asking if she will go to cover you to see. Oh God.
Actually, that enough. You could stop it. You could stop it there. That's enough pain. You could stop it there, Archie. Archie, you know I want to tell you today. These people lose their lives when the fire truck was on its way. You know what happened? Because of a number of landslips, the fire truck had to turn and seek alternative routes. As a result, we have 2 of our senior citizens dead in this country. Rohan Sinanan. Boy, let me tell you something. You see today I'm going to say something. Today I'm going to make a call, and I will stand the consequences. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I, Victor Roberts, from what I see here today, when Ivan Tulsi sent that for me, I say it today, shut down every corner, every area that have landslip in this country. Let us shut it down. collectively until the government decide to do something. We not taking this. We not taking this. You see this? We not taking this. I telling you, that is overbearing. That is the epitome of wickedness by a government. When you have an emergency vehicle cannot respond to a life and death situation because of the bad roads. Well, boy, let me tell you something. I telling you today, I not taking that. And I say no more. I say no more on that. You hear what I'm telling you? This incompetent government, Fitzgerald Hines, Rowan Sinanan, the whole team, the whole bunch are incompetent. And you, Trinidad and Tobago, all they taking that. There's a fire by one family today. The next one might very well be by all your own. Very well be by all your with them bad roads. And all you're going to be balling the same way. All you won't be balling right foot P&M, left foot P&M. All you're going to be balling, oh gosh! Father! That's what all you're going to be balling. All you don't want to stand up in this country and do the right thing. All you don't want to stand up and put a stop to this incompetent government. All you don't want to stand up and defend this country. All you don't want to defend all your children. Well then stay there. Stay there. Stay there. In a little pothole corner. Stay there. Brother Archie, cut me there. I done. Done. All stay there in all the corner. I finish. I ain't going for the Archie. Cut me there.